Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're diving deep into a story that's, well, genuinely unique in Formula One history. We're talking about a driver who reached the absolute pinnacle, became a world champion, but did it carrying the weight of a legendary family name. He's one of only two drivers ever to follow a world champion father onto that top step, Damon Hill.
It really is an incredible piece of F1 trivia, isn't it? I mean, to not only make it to Formula One, but then to sort of match or even step out of the shadow of an extraordinary legacy like Graham Hill's. It just tells you straight away there's a complex, really compelling story there.
Absolutely, and that's pretty much our mission for this deep dive. We've gathered a stack of sources all about Damon Hill, and we're going to try and pull out the essential nuggets, the key bits of knowledge to understand his journey. You know, from growing up under that famous name, navigating personal tragedy, significant challenges, all the way to his world championship and everything that came after. You'll get a thorough picture, hopefully, of what made his path so remarkable.
Yeah, we'll trace the key moments, the hurdles he faced, and, well, some of the unexpected turns that really defined his career.
Right. Let's start right at the beginning, then. Damon Graham Devereux Hill, born in Hampstead, London, 1960. Father, the famous Graham Hill two-time F1 champ. Mother, Bedit, a former rower.
And the initial picture you get from the sources, it's one of comfort, maybe even privilege. You know, living in a big 25-room country mansion, Damon going to independent school. There was certainly that expectation, perhaps that pressure that comes with such a public name.
Yeah, but that comfortable life, it changed drastically, tragically. The sources really highlight that pivotal moment in 1975. Graham Hill killed in a plane crash. Damon was just 15.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the emotional blow, huge as that was. It left the family in, well, drastically reduced financial circumstances.
It turned their world upside down, didn't it? The contrast is so stark. Suddenly, Damon had to work just to support his own education. Taking jobs as a laborer, a motorcycle courier, I mean, that's not the usual path for a future racing driver, is it?
Yeah.
It really speaks to a resilience that must have been forged out of necessity, you know, very early on.
And speaking of family, the sources mention his own life, too. Married Susan George, since 1988. They have 4 kids, including a son, Josh, and they're patrons for important causes. Down Syndrome Association, St. Joseph's Specialist School, and Damon's a patron of Disability Africa, too. Shows a commitment beyond just the track.
Definitely. Okay, so moving to his own path into racing. It didn't actually start in cars, did it?
No, surprisingly. 2 wheels first, motorcycle racing, back in 1981.
Right, and he had some success there, too. Won a 350cc Clubman's Championship, Brands Hatch. And linking back to what we just said, the sources note this was funded by his job as a labeler. That grit was already there.
And the helmet, that's fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
From his earliest days, he used the exact same design as his dad. Simple, dark blue, 8 white oar blades.
London Rowing Club colors.
Exactly. A very conscious visual link, wasn't it? Carrying that legacy right onto the track with him.
He eventually made the switch to cars in '83. Apparently his mom persuaded him, worried about the dangers of the bikes.
Can't blame her there. And then began that long climb, up the single-seater ladder.
Showed real promise in British Formula Ford, 1985. 6 wins, 3rd in the Formula Ford Festival, which was, pretty competitive.
Yeah.
Then British Formula 3, 86 to 88. That period sounds tough, though. Lost sponsorship. Tragically, a proposed teammate died in testing. The sources say he even had to borrow a huge amount, like £100,000, just to keep racing.
Wow.
Got a deal through David Hunt, James Hunt's brother, and Cellnet sponsorship. Managed to finish 3rd in British F3 in '88.
So progress, but hard fought. Next step was International Formula 3000, 88 to 91.
Right. And this is where that lack of consistent sponsorship really seems to have bitten him. The sources detail how it forced him into drives with, let's say, less competitive teams, like Mooncraft. And it's noted there that actually the Hill name helped him get that drive over someone comparable. The team manager said as much, so the name opened some doors, but...
You can buy him the best equipment.
Exactly. And despite taking pole positions, even leading races for Middlebridge in 1990, the sources are clear. He never actually won a Formula 3000 race.
That really underlines the struggle, doesn't it? Getting the right car, the right funding, to break through to that very top level.
Definitely. But he was getting experience wherever he could, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. Popping up all over. One make series Le Mans in '89, though, that ended early, a DNF. Even finished 4th in a British touring car endurance race in 1990.
All that grinding, taking any drive.
Yeah.
It eventually paid off. His first proper foot in the F1 door. became a test driver for Williams, the dominant team at the time in 1991, while he was still racing in F3000.
Yeah, testing for Williams, that was huge. Got him noticed. But his actual race debut, Grand Prix debut, wasn't with them, was it?
Yeah, that came in 92, mid-season, with the struggling Brabham team. Joined after another driver sponsorship fell through.
And Brabham was in serious trouble.
Oh yeah, deep financial trouble. Sources say he only managed to qualify for 2 races, British and Hungarian Grand Prix. Then the team just folded completely after Hungary.
What a tough entry into F1 racing.
Yeah, brief and difficult.
And what's really wild about that 92 season, even while he was driving for Brabham at the back, barely qualifying, finishing last at Silverstone, where Mansell won in the Williams, he was still testing for Williams that same year.
He was already in their system, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, maybe a bit unexpectedly, he got promoted to the Williams race seat for 93 alongside Alain Prost.
Right, after Ricardo Patrese left. And the sources say he got the nod ahead of some more experienced guys. And this is where it gets really interesting, the car number 0.
Ah, yes.
Because Mansell, the reigning champ, wasn't racing F1 in 93. Williams, as constructors' champions, got numbers 0 and 2. Prost took 2, so Hill, as the junior partner.
Got that, yeah. The sources confirm he's one of only 2 drivers ever to carry that number, and the only one to do it twice.
It really sort of symbolized his position that year, didn't it? The understudy.
Absolutely. Learning from Prost, a multiple champion. And his first full season, 93, showed real flashes of speed. Got his first podium in Brazil, showed good pace, but also hit by reliability issues.
Yep.
Engine failures while running well, that kind of thing. Cost him results.
But that year also saw his breakthrough wins. Hungary, his first ever F1 win, led from start to finish.
And the sources highlight that made him the first son of an F1 winner to actually win himself.
Yeah, big moment. Then he followed it up straight away, wins at Spa in Italy, finished the season 3rd overall. Very respectable.
Then came 1994, which set the stage for one of F1's most, well, dramatic and controversial seasons ever. Ayrton Senna joins Williams. Damon keeps the 0 number. Preseason, everyone expected Senna to dominate.
But it wasn't like that, was it? Benetton and Michael Schumacher were immediately competitive, won the first 3 races.
And then came Imola, the San Marino Grand Prix, the tragedy where Senna lost his life. And suddenly, Damon, with pretty limited experience as a team leader compared to Senna,
he's thrust into carrying the whole weight of Williams, leading them through that incredibly difficult time. The sport needed a leader, and really, it fell to Hill.
Yeah. The sources do touch on the ongoing debate about Senna's crash cause, mentioned initial reports, steering column failure, but they also include Damon's later views. In 2004, suggesting Senna might have taken the corner too fast on pulled tires after a safety car. And then later, 2007, the sources note, Hill actually accused Schumacher of deliberate foul play. Though that was about a different incident earlier in the 94 season, not Imola itself. It's important to see these different perspectives in the material.
Right, important context. The rest of 94 was just this incredibly intense, often bitter championship fight with Schumacher. Damon showed immense resilience, won the Spanish GP just 4 weeks after Senna died. That must have been incredibly emotional for the team. Hugely important win.
Absolutely. He clawed back a big points deficit. Mansell even came back for a few races, adding another layer of complexity.
And Damon won the British Grand Prix, a race his dad never won.
That's right. Schumacher had disqualifications, a race ban that definitely helped Hill close the gap. Going into the final race in Australia, Damon won the Japanese GP in the wet, dominant win.
Yeah.
He was just 1 point behind Schumacher.
Which brings us to Adelaide, that infamous, controversial final race. Schumacher leads, goes off, brushes the wall. Hill comes up to challenge.
And bang, they collide, fighting for the lead.
The impact broke Hill's suspension, both cars out. Schumacher wins his first title.
And that collision, it's still talked about constantly in F1 history, isn't it? The sources show different views. Murray Walker, on commentary, initially thought it wasn't intentional. But that contrasts with Patrick Head from Williams, who later said the team was 100% certain it was foul play. But they didn't protest out of respect, after Senna's death.
And as you mentioned, Hill himself later, in 2007, explicitly accused Schumacher of causing it deliberately. These different accounts are all there in the sources we have.
Yeah.
Despite that crushing disappointment, losing the title like that, Damon's efforts in that incredibly tough 94 season were recognized. He won the BBC Sports Personality of the Year.
Rightly so. Then 1995, the rivalry with Schumacher just continued, more flashpoints. Both got suspended race bans for collisions in Belgium and Italy. Hill started as a favorite, but Schumacher took his second title.
Which leads us to 1996, the dominant year. The Williams FW18 was clearly the best car, and Damon found himself battling his new teammate, Jacques Villeneuve, the IndyCar champ, for the title.
He had a superb year. 8 wins, equaled a record held by Senna and Prost, never qualified lower than the front row all season.
Incredible consistency.
There was a poignant moment, engine failure at Monaco, where his dad won 5 times.
Whoa, yeah.
But he clinched it, won the final race in Japan, became world champion. He'd done it. The first son of an F1 champion to win the title himself.
An absolutely incredible achievement. Testament to his perseverance, especially with that constant comparison to his father, the tough journey. Yet, despite reaching the absolute summit, the sources reveal this truly shocking news he learned before the season even ended.
Yeah.
He was being dropped by Williams for Heinz-Harald Frentzen for the next year.
It's just remarkable, isn't it? Reigning world champion let go by the top team. The sources note he left Williams as their second most successful driver ever by wins, 21 wins.
Wow.
And it highlights a pattern, too. He was the 4th Williams champion in 9 years not to drive for them the following season. Gives you an insight into the hard-nosed business side of F1.
Even at the very top, he got more recognition, though, second BBC Sports Personality Award in '96. Only 5 people have done that. And the Seagrave Trophy, too.
So 1997.
Yeah.
Dropped by Williams, he signs with Arrows.
Yeah, Arrows, a team that had never won a race, scored 1 point the year before.
The sources mention he had offers from bigger teams, McLaren, Benetton, Ferrari, apparently. But he felt he wasn't adequately financially valued, so he took this surprising step down.
And it was tough. A difficult season. Uncompetitive car, new Bridgestone tires, new Yamaha engine.
Yeah, sources say he struggled badly early on. Barely even qualified for the first race.
But then, Hungary. That race became legendary for Arrows, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The Bridgestone seemed to work really well there. Hill starts 3rd in a car that hadn't finished higher than 9th all year, and somehow passes Schumacher for the lead.
Incredible.
Builds this massive gap, looks set for an impossible miracle win. But then a hydraulic problem slowed him right at the end. Last lap, finished 2nd to Villeneuve.
Agony. But what a drive. Showcased his skill, determination against all odds.
Totally heroic. After that one season at Arrows, he moved again. To Jordan for 1998. Signed with Eddie Jordan. Teammate was Ralf Schumacher.
'98 started tough for Jordan, too, but the car got better mid-season. Had a clash with Ralf in Canada.
But the absolute high point for him at Jordan, and for the team, really, was the Belgian Grand Prix. Spa.
Yes, chaos, wet conditions. And Damon takes Jordan's first ever F1 win.
Yep. Sources confirm he benefited from team orders, holding Ralph back to secure that famous 1-2 finish.
His first win since leaving Williams. Huge moment for him and the team. Finished 6th in the championship, helped Jordan get 4th in the constructors.
Hopes were really high for '99 after that win. But Damon struggled to adapt to the new 4-groove tires they brought in that year. And he was largely outpaced by his new teammate, Heinz-Harald Frentzen, ironically, the guy who'd replaced him at Williams.
The struggles led him to announce mid-season he'd retire at the end of the year, after a crash in Canada. Apparently even considered quitting immediately after a really bad race in France where Frentzen actually won.
Yeah, the sources say Eddie Jordan talked him into staying on, at least for the British Grand Prix. He went into Silverstone, apparently fully intending it to be his last race, but he finished 5th. And that gave him just enough motivation to see out the year.
His last few races weren't spectacular, though. Best results were 6th places. Frentzen, meanwhile, became the surprise title contender, helped Jordan finish 3rd.
Yeah. Damon's final race was Japan. He retired from it, said he had mental fatigue, sort of quiet end to a career with such massive highs and lows.
So after retiring from driving, he stayed very involved, didn't he? Automotive world, motorsport, founded P1 International, that supercar club, involved in car dealerships. Sources estimate his net worth is pretty significant.
And he took on a major leadership role in 2006. President of the British Racing Drivers Club, the BRDC, took over from Jackie Stewart.
That was a critical job for UK motorsport, wasn't it?
Hugely. Sources highlight his major achievement there during his time from 2006 to 2011 was securing that crucial 17-year contract for Silverstone to keep hosting the British Grand Prix. That deal enabled all the big renovations there.
Right. He's also managed a driver, Stephen Kane. Got an honorary fellowship, University of Northampton, popped up at loads of historic and charity events. Goodwood, testing old GP2 cars, GP Masters, racing in that VW Sirocco Charita Cup.
Even driving his dad's old BRM. He's currently president of the Brooklands Trust members, too. Busy man.
And his media career has been pretty extensive.
Oh, yeah. Early TV stuff, articles for F1 Racing, covering for Brundle on ITV commentary, but most prominently, that long stint as a pundit for Sky Sports F1, 2012 right up to 2024. And now he's moving to BBC radio commentary for 2025.
Still very much in the F1 conversation. And
Yeah.
beyond motorsport, the sources revealed his deep passion for music.
Yeah. Had a punk band in school, played guitar with George Harrison, members of Def Leppard,
Wow.
part of celebrity bands, formed his own band, the Conrads, active for a few years after he retired from driving.
Hmm.
Apparently stopped playing guitar regularly when he became BRDC president, though. Said he was too busy.
Understandable. He also put out his autobiography, Watching the Wheels, 2016, and in it, he revealed he suffered with depression. Adds another layer, doesn't it? Understanding the pressures.
Definitely. And one last point the sources note, he was on the stewards panel at Monaco in 2010. Famously penalized Michael Schumacher for overtaking under yellows. Apparently got hate mail for it.
Yeah.
Shows that rivalry, or its consequences, can linger even in retirement roles.
Wow. Okay. So if we try and connect all this together, Damon Hill's career arc is just incredibly compelling, isn't it? You've got the immense pressure, the expectation of the name, but also that profound personal tragedy, the financial hardship early on.
Then navigating the dangers, the politics of F1, battling so fiercely with rivals like Schumacher, finally winning the championship against that backdrop of loss and expectation.
Only to get that shock of being dropped by Williams, the team he just won the title with.
Yeah. And then showing that remarkable that skill to win again with smaller teams, arrows nearly than Jordan, definitely.
And finally, finding these diverse, influential paths after racing, leading the BRDC, broadcasting, while also, dealing with personal challenges.
His story is just such a powerful demonstration of resilience, isn't it?
Remember,
Adaptation, skill, not just in the car, but navigating that whole high-stakes world of pro sport and life after it.
it really is. Damon Hill's journey, it shows that success, especially when you're stepping out of such a famous shadow, it isn't just measured by wins or titles, is it?
Well,
It's also about how you navigate that immense pressure, how you handle adversity, those complex relationships, and ultimately how you define your own path, even when you start from a place that's marked by both, well, incredible privilege and profound loss.
which brings us to a final thought, maybe something for you, the listener, to consider. In any field, really, how do we truly measure the success of someone who follows in the footsteps of a legend? Is it just about matching or beating their achievements? Or is there something more? Something in how they navigate the journey itself?